Hello everybody and welcome back to my shop. As you can see behind me, I'm back in my engine building area. However, today I'm shifting gears just a little bit, pun intended. But no, today I think I'm going to tear this transmission down. This is a T56 that I had purchased a few years back, and it had a few issues, and I ended up tearing it apart, and I put a bunch of parts in it. And just recently, I had an opportunity to do some trading, and a kid put it in his car, and I guess there's something in here is not real happy. So I'm going to tear this thing down today and figure out if we can figure out what has gone wrong on the inside. So anyway, if you want, grab your favorite beverage and come along and let's see what we can find out. So basically what we've got here, this is a T56, or it's a Borg Warner. This is a factory OEM transmission, and it either came out, this one, I think this one is actually out of a GTO, roughly an 04, I think. They used them in a lot of your Camaros. They used, so basically this one is what is also known as an LS1 style. They also made some of these that fit the old first gen small block, the 6 speeds in the behind the LT1 cars. Anyway, the first thing I like to do, because this transmission has to unstack basically from the back, and what I usually do is, if I can get this in the camera, I start with my table. Usually I have a piece of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, and as you notice, I've already popped a hole. I'll be using a 2x12 today because that's what was available. But I've got a hole drilled in here all the way through, and what I'll do is, once I get these bolts out right here for this first plate, I'm gonna take this transmission and I'm gonna turn it upside down on that hole, and then we'll start unstacking it. So first thing we gotta do is get these bolts out. And now that I got those bolts out, for the fun part, because these things are not light. Whew. Okay, after pulling the front plate bolts, now I won't have to do anything else whenever I get ready to unstack this case. Also, there's a dowel right here, and I just drill a hole in the plate. The board that I typically use already has those drilled, so I kind of forgot about doing the hole. But now that I've got this thing set in place, the first thing that I'll do, and I don't really like hammering on this shift rail, but there's a pin right there. See if I can zoom in just a little bit. Oops. Because the first thing that's going to come off of here is this tail section. So that roll pin has got to be driven out. So I've already kind of moved it with a bigger roll pin punch. And basically all you got to do is just get that out so you can pull this shift collar off. Next, thing we'll do is we're going to separate this housing. So I had to give it a couple of whacks with my dead blow here. I put these things together with this stuff right here. It's called the right stuff. And if anybody has ever assembled a transmission or transfer case with this stuff, the bond between these housing is extremely, it's almost a semi-permanent bond when you put that stuff together. But anyway, so now that I got the bolts out and I got the cases separated, we're gonna pull this up, take this tail housing off. And as I can see right away, the rear bearing right here has failed. I'm not 100% sure what's caused it to fail yet, but I think I'm going to tear the rest of the thing apart. I know when I put this thing together the first time, I set all the end plays and the tolerances, so not sure what's causing that, and I don't know if that's all the damage that's there, but I'm going to disassemble the rest of it and see what we can find. Okay, after getting the rear case off of it and the reverse gear and synchronizer, it appears that the majority of the damage is on this reverse gear and synchro. I'm not real sure what caused this, but I'm definitely going to have to investigate. The bearing was chewed up, the inner bearing was eaten. Just the bulk of the damage seems to be back here. So I'm going to tear the rest of the transmission apart. I've got a lot of cleanup to do. I don't think it's a lot of this stuff is hopefully reusable, but I just don't know until I get it completely torn down. So I'm sure this synchronizer, it feels like it's pretty trash. So anyway, teardown will continue. I think pan the camera back over here for a minute. But the next thing I need to do, other than I'm going to turn this thing upside down because there's a lot of oil still trapped in some of these cavities. But the next thing I'll do is I'll take this plate off, and there's the shift fork is in here, or the shift, I don't know if you'd call it a fork, but that needs to unpin to where it will come off. And then, like I said earlier, I'll take these two out, these two bolts out. I've already separated the case, but if I don't drain it right now, whenever I pull this apart, there's going to be a heck of a mess on the floor. So I think I'm going to drain it and finish the teardown, and then we'll lay all the parts out and start inspecting stuff to see what we need to fix. Okay, I got this thing completely torn apart, as you can see. And for the most part, the damage seems to be isolated to the reverse gear and the synchro and the rear bearing in this thing. Fifth and sixth gear, they look really, really good. And then when we look at the rest of this thing, all of the counter shaft, of course, first through fourth synchros and gears all look real good. The shift rails, input shaft all looks good. Now, the input shaft, I did replace it whenever I done this transmission the first time, and I'm not too sure which one of these synchro sets may have been this one here, the third and fourth gears. Those may have also been replaced, but I'm going to tear all of this down anyway, and I'll go through and wash everything and thoroughly inspect it. And as you can see, pretty much unstacks, as you saw in the time lapse. I know whenever I did this the first time, I replaced all these bearings and put all the new races in, and then I redid all the shims, which is a kind of a drawn out procedure. But so far, I think that's where the damage is at. I am a little bit concerned when we look back here. I am a little concerned right here. There's a little bit of wear on this, a little bit of scoring, but it's not that bad. So I think I might go ahead and try to use it over. But anyway, that's pretty much complete for the teardown.